It's our reality, just your average family trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got the Thunderman's Season 1, Episode 20, Breaking Dad. The season finale! Yay, we are on the season finale for the Thundermans and Season 1. I'm currently working on the script for the premiere of Season 2, Thunderman, but it will come out at some point, once I'm done. Probably tonight. I don't know. But, yeah, currently working on the Thunderman Season 2 script. So, yeah, so this is Breaking Dad. This is Breaking Dad, which is, we all know, is a reference to one of the best TV shows of all time, Breaking Bad. But, yeah, so this episode starts off at Hinsville High's chemistry class. Yay, the final thing of Season 1's location chart is a chemistry class. And this is also the final time we see Hinsville High as it regularly looks, because in the next season it would get a complete retool and a redesign. So Season 1 Hinsville High, say goodbye, as Season 2 Hinsville High looks completely different. The lockers still stay the same, but for some reason the whole school changes to white. But yeah, this is the final time we see colorful Hinsville High, as next season we get a redesign, a redesigned set, which is weird why they would change it. So this episode starts off at Hinsville High chemistry class, where Cherry asks, "Why does Mr. Big Booty look so mad?" Phoebe corrects her and says it's Mr. Big Booty. He hates it when people call him Big Booty. But Phoebe does say, but to be fair, that is one big booty. Then Mr. Big Booty says, "Who's in the crack? Who's in the crack? Is someone in the rear?" Okay. Okay, show. Show. Yeah, Season 1 of the Thundermans is the first season, is the only season finale to have no effects on the plot. Yeah, it's weirdly that Season 1's finale is a regular episode of the show. Season 2's finale would make a big change for the family. Season 3's finale would also make a big change to Max. And then Season 4's finale would be the end of the show. But this finale is the only finale to act like a normal episode and not bring any big changes or not change the status quo of the show. Which is weird. I get it. They probably said, "Oh, hey, this is our first season, so we don't want to add any big changes." That's why in the second season, from Beyond, they did the season finale would make big changes to the series. But this episode's kind of weird. It's a weird episode just because it's not an episode that changes the status quo, not like the finales that precede it. So it's kind of weird. It's a fine episode. It's just a weird thing that they made a big gamble not making their big finale like a two-parter, like they would do for their preceding finales later on, which we'll get to. But yeah, Season 2 Season 2 is the season to have two-parter finales with two episodes with it, two-parter. And Season 3's finale is a two-parter, and Season 4's finale is a two-parter. And there's the movie, which I still have to look at. But yeah. He says, Mr. Big Boudet says, "Oh, laugh now, laugh while you can," because he graded their exams, and soon they'll be the butt of the joke. Okay, show, you're kind of ruining it. Phoebe asks Max what he's doing, and Max says he's making a proton particle power booster. He made it with spare parts no one was using. Then we see Principal Bradford, which is the third and final time we'll see Principal Bradford in this season. He would become a mainstay next season, which is good because I kind of like Principal Bradford. He's kind of a jerk, but he's Principal Bradford is a funny jerk. But Principal Bradford tries to use the water fountain, but it breaks on him because Max used those spare parts to build his power booster, which is a good joke because it's like no one uses the water fountain, but when someone tries to use the water fountain, it breaks on them. Max says that it's for Max Thunderman Day. Phoebe says, "What is that? The day of dozens. What is that day? The 12th of dozen existuary." Okay, that was funny. Max tells Phoebe it's a snark way, but after he pulls the biggest prank the school's ever seen, there'll be a whole day named after him. He's gonna clamp those cables to a giant turkey. And Phoebe says, for legal reasons, they should stop listening to him now. Then Mr. Beg Boudet gives Cherry her exam. Cherry got 100% of the answers wrong. Phoebe gets a B. Cherry says, hold up, back up, Mr. Big Booty. Okay, this episode's trying to be intentionally funny, but it's just the funny that they call it Mr. Big Booty. This episode's trying to be not funny, but it's just funny when you have a character named Mr. Big Booty and they call him Booty all over every time in the episode. Phoebe says that Phoebe is the best student in class. She studies hard and gets A's. It's her thing. Phoebe says, tells Cherry to calm down, but says she's right. It's Phoebe's thing. Mr. Beg Boudet asks Max what is his contraption, and Max says it's just a machine, Mr. Beg Boudet. And Mr. Beg Boudet says, just like the jalapeno toilet paper Max made last week. He takes Max's machine and locks it in the cabinet so no Boudet gets hurt. Phoebe says she'll give that joke an A. Speaking of A, shouldn't Phoebe gotten one? Phoebe thinks she got anything wrong. Mr. Beg Boudet says, nope, Phoebe didn't get anything wrong. He just doesn't give A's. To anyone. Ever. It's his thing. Okay, show. You're already ruining the joke. It was funny when Phoebe said it. It was funny when Cherry said it. It was funny when Phoebe said it. But when you have a third character say it, you know. All aspiring comedians, hear my words. Learn to end a joke. This show sure doesn't know how to end one. Max says, Phoebe, looks like we got a big booty problem. Big booty problem. Beg Boudet says, it's Mr. Beg Boudet. Then his big butt causes him to drop stuff on the floor. Then Phoebe says, is it? Then after the opening, Phoebe is complaining to Hank and Barb about how Mr. Beg Boudet doesn't give A's. It's like a cheeseburger without cheese, a pizza without cheese, nachos without cheese. She needs A's like things need cheese. Barb says, is this like her awful chemistry teacher with the big chip on his shoulder? Which is kind of funny that she can't say butt. Which is kind of funny that Barb can't say butt for some reason. Why, Barb? Why can't you say butt? Yeah. Phoebe says, how is she supposed to get into Hero University when she has a teacher who doesn't give A's? Nora says she has an idea. why don't you? Yeah. Yeah. Wait a minute. Nora saying that. Nora says, why don't Nora? Nora says she has an idea. Nora says she has an idea. Why don't you go to the Galloway University? and then and that was funny. And then Billy says you can major and move. Again, that was funny. Just the way Billy said move was so funny. You can major and move like that because Phoebe's in the way of their TV, and it's just so funny that they're getting so agitated at her. I don't know. They never show what they're actually watching, but it must be good if they're annoyed at Phoebe interrupting it. But that was a good line. Hank says, "Don't worry, don't worry. If Miss Phoebe says she's gonna get an A, she's gonna get at that A. He'll just call Principal Bradford and arrange a little parent-teacher conference. Barb says nothing gets past Hank, except Max, who's literally shoving a turkey down his lair while this is going on. Which is kind of funny that literally Max is talking and Hank is talking and Barb's literally like, nothing gets past your dad. Well, Max literally was able to get a whole turkey past him. That's funny. That's just funny. That's funny. Well, Max slides down a layer, and Phoebe says Hank's the best, and Hank says, Who left the door open? They're like, Billy, Nora. Then they both say Max. That is just so funny that they first thought it was each other, but then they realized it was Max. Meanwhile, in Max's lair, Dr. Clauso is laughing because Max got his head stuck in the turkey. Okay, that is funny. He says he was watching he doesn't know how he was watching what happened, and it's still funny. Max gets his head out of that turkey, and Max says this is the turkey prank. It's gonna be big. The school's gonna name an entire day after him. Dr. Clausen says, Dancing Turkey Head Day? Max says, no, Max Thunderman Day. Max says Clausen knows the chemicals in turkey that make you super sleepy after you eat them. Clausen says it's one of the top 10 most evil chemicals, right after the stuff in asparagus. Okay, I guess turkey chemicals are somehow evil in the Thunderman's universe. Don't know how, but they are. Yeah, the asparagus that makes your pee smell. Max says when he steals his machine back, he's going to use it to boost the turkey chemical and make super sleepy sandwiches to make for one of his classmates fall asleep. Then Max is going to draw. Then Dr. Carlson says, "Are you going to draw a mustache on their faces?" Then Max is like, "He is now." So, meanwhile, at Himville High, Phoebe is watching Hank's parent-teacher conference with Mr. Beg Boudet when Max shows up. Max asks what she's doing. Phoebe tells him what I just told you guys. Don't need to rephrase it. Max then Phoebe asks Max if he's joining a clown college. Max there. Max says it's his camouflage outfit because Max has to get his power booster back. And Phoebe says, good luck, because Mr. Beg Boudet is coming. So Max blends in with the lockers, which is a kind of funny joke that somehow his camouflage outfit can blend with lockers, so no one can even see him. Yeah, then Phoebe says she doubted Max's plan. Then Mr. Big Boudet leaves. Bradford shows up saying, turns out Mr. Big Boudet has hit bottom and is tired of turning the other cheek. The point is he quit. Phoebe says he quit? Then what about her grade? Then he'll have to ask her new chemistry teacher. Phoebe says, will you be there tomorrow? And Hank reveals he's the new chemistry teacher. But Bradford says he went to college and he got a license. This joke kind of comes back later where he got a license. It comes back. And he is a scientific genius. Then Bradford gets a student. Bradford's like, hey, I'm going to show you around. Then he just finds a random student and says, hey, show this guy around. And the student just accepts. He just smiles and shows Hank around despite not even knowing the guy, which is a kind of funny joke that Bradford just gets a random student to get Hank to show Hank around, and the guy just shows Hank around. Now Max says, how's he going to do his prank? Max says, how's he going to do? He says, Hank can't be a sub here. How is he going to do his best prank ever with Thunderman roaming the hall? Phoebe says, this is a good thing, Max. He'll stamp out injustice and give students A's they deserve, which obviously, no, she's talking about herself, but she doesn't say herself, but we know she's talking about herself because it's Phoebe. Yeah, Phoebe, Max says he isn't giving up, so as long as no one can see him, it isn't over. Phoebe leaves, and Max goes back to blending with the lockers. Then as Phoebe leaves, Cherry says, hi Phoebes, hi Max, and Max says, I'm a locker, running away. Meanwhile, in the B plot at the Thunder House, because this episode finally gets a B plot, Barb is getting Billy and Nora ready for school and tells them to close the outside door. Nora says, what's the big deal about the door? And Billy says, what are you guys so afraid of? Then a squirrel comes in and Billy says, the outside is inside. And Nora says, if cartoons have taught them anything, squirrels are lovable. Then the squirrel hisses and Nora's like, cartoons lie. Okay, that's kind of funny. Meanwhile, we literally cut from that because the writers probably thought that scene was so boring. Is that it's just a squirrel plot. That's the entire B plot. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. And also, yeah. Meanwhile, in the A plot, at Hinsdale High's chemistry class, Hank is dressed up like Albert Einstein, does a German accent. He says, hello, future scientists. He's Albert Einstein, and welcome to chemistry. Wow. I had no idea I was able to do that voice. Max says, what has Phoebe done? Phoebe says if Einstein gets her into Hero University, then it will all be Guten Tag. Max says, Phoebe, you just said hello. Again. Phoebe says, yeah, to an A in chemistry. Max says, Hank will not ruin Max Thunderman Day. He's getting his power booster back. Well, dramatic spy music plays because this show is really cheap. This show was probably on a budget. So they have... I still love this show even though it was on that budget. But now, it's on dramatic music plays. Albert Einstein lets Hank take over, and Hank says their experiment will. He wants them to get out and find items in the school and bring them back and present their own chemical reaction. And now the grade will be on the experiment will replace the last exam grade. So really challenge himself. Max tries to get Phoebe to cover for him, but Phoebe's like, so he can melt the log with the sea breath. But Phoebe's like, no. So she says that she and Max. She says that she and Max gotta get started on their science homework. Meanwhile, in the B plot at the time, Barb asks Billy and Nora if they caught the squirrel yet. Nora asks, why is she wearing Max's catcher outfit? Barb says they're trying to catch a squirrel, and it's cute. Then they try to catch the squirrel, and they all try to use their powers on the squirrel, but it failed. And they try to open the door to see if the squirrel will leave. But more squirrels show up. So Barb goes to Max's lair, which we never see her enter. We actually don't see Max's lair again in the episode, I don't think. It was only in that one scene. Well, Billy and Nora run upstairs, and Nora runs outside. Well, in the A plot, Hank is congratulating Cliff, who looks like that same guy that showed him the school earlier, on his mint candy soda geyser. Was messy, but it was well worth the wait. Cliff gets an A. He catches Max trying to get his power booster, but Max lies, saying he's trying to help the janitor look for his key. Hank gives Max the lab cabinet keys, and Max says he loves Hank. Max secretly gets the power booster back, I'm guessing, and we see Phoebe's project. Phoebe says that her project is when you get ink on your lab coat and have an fire extinguisher to get the ink off lab coat. Hank gives Phoebe a D grade. Phoebe confronts Hank outside the halls, and Hank says he told everyone to challenge himself. Phoebe didn't do that. She did the exact same disappointing ink bit that she did back in Metroburg when she was in 7th grade. Phoebe says she got an A on that. But here's the problem, Phoebe. Just because you got an A then doesn't mean you're going to get an A now. Doing the exact same joke doesn't work. I'm also talking to you thunderman writers about doing the same Billy joke over and over. It's not funny. This not going to work. Phoebe doing the exact same joke over and over doesn't work. It just does. It just doesn't. Yeah. So Phoebe says she was supposed to be stamping on justice. And give her the grade she deserves. She said they talked about this. And Hank says he doesn't remember talking about it. Hank says her D stands. And Phoebe says she's so upset she can't talk right now. She's going to Cherries. But then she realizes, she's only 15, so she doesn't have her driver's license yet. So she has to ask Hank to give her a ride to Cherries. Yeah, Phoebe's only 15. We don't see her turn 16 until season 3. So, meanwhile in the B plot, Nora says that Barb's not gonna tell Hank that they left the door open and the house is filled with squirrels. Barb says she doesn't think they'll have to now that she's covered up the wrecked items with blankets. Then Max shows up. Barb asks him what he's doing with the sandwiches, and then he says he says nothing, and then he asks, what are you guys doing with the blank? Why are there blankets everywhere? And she says nothing. So yeah. Hank comes home, and to get out of this situation, Barb says they should all go out for dinner, and they do, I guess, with Hank not knowing that they're a squirrel. Meanwhile, in Himmelville High chemistry lab, Phoebe confronts Hank. She She tells him that she had trouble sleeping last night because she thought she was seeing squirrels. You were, Phoebe. You were. And she thought about how unfairly Hank treated her. Phoebe decides to transfer out of Hank's class. And Hank said he already knew this was going to happen because he got an email from Bradford and he read her 500 essay on why Phoebe should leave Hank's class. Phoebe thinks Hank's being hard on her because he's her daughter. But Hank says, nah, that's not true. I mean hard on you because you're a superhero. And grades or no grades, superhero don't take the easy way out, like repeating an old assignment. They rise to the challenge. And that's what he's trying to teach her. So if she's gonna transfer, he's not gonna stop her. But he's gonna get raid because of Phoebe's transfer request. Principal Bradford wants to come to evaluate him, and Hank has to prove he's a good teacher or he'll lose his job. Phoebe says he's a great teacher. Most of the kids love him. Hank says he has to ace his evaluation. Then he falls asleep. Max runs in, saying he thinks Hank found one of his sleepy sandwiches and brought it for lunch. Phoebe tells Max to wake him up. Max says he can't, fighting the urge to draw a mustache on his face. Max does actually do that off screen, and Phoebe says they gotta do something, They gotta do something. He's being evaluated by Bradford and he could lose his job. Max says, or they'll just get another sub and Phoebe's D will be taken off her record. Phoebe's like, no. Phoebe's like, nah, she can't. She can't let Hank lose her job over one grade. And Max says he has the principal, but Phoebe keeps him in the class. Phoebe says not even the evilest supervillain would sacrifice their dads for a stupid high school stunt, stupid high school prank. So Max decides to join because it's Max. Max says he needs it for Max Thunderman Day. I just love Jack Griffo. Phoebe said so. Max decides to help Phoebe. Meanwhile, in the B plot, because this B plot's kind of boring this episode, clearly they're no match for the squirrels, so they ask Dr. Colosso to help. Dr. Colosso says, no problem, wait in the kitchen. And Dr. Colosso and the squirrel trash talk each other before Dr. Colosso gets beaten up by the squirrel. And Dr. Colosso says, so the squirrels are here to stay, but they're willing to live in the walls. Oh no, I mean they want you guys to live in the walls. Meanwhile, in the A plot, Hank is put in his Albert Einstein costume and puts goggles on his face. Then Principal Bradford shows up and the students show up. So Phoebe and Max use their telekinesis to make Hank do a really cool chemistry experiment, and impressing Principal Bradford. Then Hank wakes up, so Bradford asks Hank for the copy of his license. Again, here's the joke. Hank reveals that he didn't actually have a teaching license because he shows his driver's license. And because Hank didn't know that you need a teaching license, Bradford's like, yeah, we'll act like you never worked here, and asks if anyone recorded it. Cherry says she did, so Bradford takes her phone away and says that she's not getting it till graduation. And the last we see of Cherry for this season is her running off. The last time we see Cherry with short hair, because Cherry gets longer hair next season. Last time we see Cherry with her short hair, she's going after Principal Bradford, telling him that that she doesn't think she'll graduate. She doesn't even know if she'll even graduate. Wow, that's the last appearance of short-haired Cherry. Okay. Meanwhile, at the Thunder Kitchen, Max actually did draw that mustache on Hank's face, and Hank comes in with his mustache on his face, and Billy says he thinks Hank's lip pooped on him, and Nora says that's not how the potty works, Billy. Okay, that's funny. At least Billy wasn't as annoying, and at least they didn't do the Billy joke in this episode. I ripped him apart in the last episode. Watch that one. Watch that episode, because I ripped Billy and his joke apart. But hopefully they stop doing it in season 2. Hopefully this is the season we stop doing the Billy's dumb jokes. Or I will continue to rip on them, because they are terrible. But anyway, yeah, that was a funny joke with Billy at least that Billy being dumb was funny. It wasn't annoying as it always is. Yeah. Hank says that he would like to go back to the classroom with his favorite twin. He wishes there was a way. Phoebe says Hank could just go get a teaching license, could go to school and get his teaching license, and Hank then just says he wishes there was another way, meaning that he doesn't want to. I guess, yeah, I knew that they wouldn't do this. They couldn't do a whole season. They couldn't do this whole, Hank gets his teaching license, because obviously they have to go back to the status quo by the next season. So obviously they couldn't keep going with this Hank stays as a teacher thing. So yep, he just quit off screen, and now he wants to go back, but he doesn't want to go back because he doesn't want to have to go through the hard work of getting a teacher's license, because it's Hank for you. Yeah. Phoebe says they were lucky to have him as a sub, and he was a really great teacher. Max says everybody loves each other, and if you don't mind, I'm trying to eat my dinner. Then Max falls asleep, because I guess Hank somehow snuck Max's sleepy sandwiches into his food. Somehow. I don't know. But then Hank says Max is getting a little less than payback, and they have 2 minutes to draw on Max's face, and everyone agrees to it, and the episode ends as Hank hands out markers for them to draw on Max's face. So that was season 1 as a whole, and I gotta say I enjoyed it, even though the finale was kind of not all that spectacular, and it's not as good as the other finales, which are 2-parters and bring big shakeups to the show. This season finale is alright. It's not one of my favorites, unlike Heroes Born or Thunderman's Secret Revealed or even Thunder Games. But this episode, it's alright. It's alright. It's not good. It's not bad. But I have to say, I think one of my I'm gonna give my favorite episode of the season. I think my favorite episode of the season has to go to episode 6. Okay, you know why. It's the first appearance of Mrs. Wong, and it's just a funny episode just because Mrs. Wong is funny. Max and Phoebe working for Mrs. Wong is funny. Mrs. Wong becoming a permanent character is great. I was also gonna go with Have a Nice Birthday or Crime After Crime, because those are both Mrs. Wong episodes and she's just funny. But I wanted to go with episode 6 because it was her first appearance. So for my least favorite episode, I don't know. Either it's going wonkers because of just how pointless Cole Campbell was as a character. It's either going wonkers because even though the episode's fun, it's kind of the worst just for how completely pointless Cole Campbell was. What was his whole... Actually, yes, I'm going to go with Going Wonkers as my least favorite episode of season 1. Just because it was fun. It's just that the way they just randomly write out Cole's character and just have him never show up again, that's what sours it for me. Because even though Cole was a generic, boring, just copy and paste crush for Phoebe, I wish we could see more of him. But no, they randomly disappeared. Phoebe gets other crushes next season, like Dylan or Link, who's her full-time boyfriend for 2 seasons. But Cole, I don't know what happened to him. Phoebe even crushes on, in the last episode, Phoebe crushed on 2 surfer guys. And she didn't bring up anything about, oh hey, didn't she and Cole like have a thing? Nope. I don't like going wonkers because I could have gone between going wonkers or that, or just the, yeah, just going wonkers. I couldn't think of any episode that I didn't like except for this one, and yeah. So let's go to characters. I'm gonna start off with F. Cole Campbell. I have put Cole in this tier because he's just a pointless, as I said, a pointless copy and paste, nothing boyfriend. That's all he is. He looks like Lincoln Loud if Lincoln Loud was a teenager and had yellow hair. He's weird. Cole Campbell was only in 2 episodes, and they were just okay. I don't know why. Just why it happened to him. Did Cole Campbell's actor just not want? Did they call him up and say, "Hey, you want to appear in more episodes?" And he was like, "No, he's busy." Or was Cole Campbell only appearing in 2 episodes always the plan? Because if it was, then if it was always the plan to have Cole appear in 2 episodes, then why even make him and Phoebe crushes to each other? Why have Phoebe? Why have Cole say when he's gonna come back, he and Phoebe are gonna have a real dance? Why have him say that if he's barely referenced again? I'm gonna go to E now. Sarah. I did like her character. Her obsession with Max was kind of fun. And even though she was only in, like, I think 3 episodes? 2 episodes? She was only in Report. Yeah. I think she was only in Report Card, Going Wonkers, and Nothing to Lose Sleep Over. And she's a funny character. She's only in 3 seasons, which is being season 1, season 2, and season 4. She only has I think she only has like 1 appearance in 3 appearances in season 1, 2 appearances in season 2, and 1 appearance in season 4. Which is weird why she doesn't appear in season 5, but I guess because Phoebe has other friends in that season. Now let's talk about Phoebe's other friend, Ashley. Ashley, she's a fine character. She was only in like, I think 3 episodes. 2 episodes in season 2, and I think 1 episode in season 1. 2 episodes in season 1, and I think in 1 episode in season 2. That's why I'm excited to review season 2, because I'm excited to see what I don't remember from my previous watching of the show, because I kind of forget when Ashley last appeared. I think her last appearance is in episode 18. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about Tyler. Tyler's just generic nerd guy. He kind of didn't do anything. He was only in like. He was just generic nerd guy Phoebe friend. Okay, now I gotta talk about. Okay, I gotta talk about next tier is Darcy Wong. Another 2 character appearance, which I don't get. Unlike Cole Campbell, which I still don't get. Why Darcy? Darcy Wong is an interesting character, just for the fact is that she's only in episode 10 and episode 8 and episode 18, episode 17. I don't know why. Why did Darcy only have 2 episodes to herself? I kind of liked her because she kind of felt like a foil to the Thundermans, and she felt like they were kind of weird, and she would always roast them. But why was she only in 2 episodes? Why? Was her actress unable to come back? Did they not have any stories with Darcy? Like, it would have been interesting if a season 3 character, who we'll get to, who is my favorite kid character, meets Darcy. That would have been an interesting dynamic. But no, Darcy never appears again. Nor does Mrs. Wong ever mention her ever again. Okay. Next character. I will be getting to the main character soon. But, yeah. Yeah. I think we also have like Principal Bradford. I'll talk about Principal Bradford. He was only in 3 episodes this season, and he was he was only in 3 episodes this season. Episode 8, episode 19, and episode 20, and he was funny. Principal Bradford's an okay character. So now I gotta get to the main characters. Dr. Clouseau. Weirdly, in the first episode, Dr. Clouseau didn't like when Nora discovered him, he told her to close his sheet. But then by the next episode, he was just okay with having it off. That's the most confusing part I got about Dr. Clouseau in season 1. That in season 1, he didn't like having his cage. He told him when literally Nora discovered him, he told her to close his sheet on his cage. She did. But by the next episode, he doesn't have that problem anymore, and he's just okay with being seen by everyone. I don't get it. Dr. Claus is a fine character. Hopefully in season 2 they develop him more and we get more things on his backstory and all that. I like to hear more about his mother. We'll probably not hear more about his mother. I'm just joking. We've only heard about his mother, and then in this episode, when we hear about his mother again, when Dr. Clouseau told the squirrel not to bring up his mom. So, yeah, I think Phoebe had a really good growth in season 1. She went from your typical person, girl thing to an actual full person who actually wants to become a hero. I think that's interesting. Max is just... Okay. I love Max Thunderman. Just to know, I love Max. He has all the funny lines in this season, along with Mrs. Wong. He is my favorite character, and that will not change unless we get to a certain child, Thunderman child, in season 3. Not going to mention her name. Until we get to that, until we get to her season. But certain one that might take Max's place as one of my favorite Thunderman kids. But right now, we're not at her yet. We're not at her season. So right now, Max is my favorite character out of all the Thunderman kids that we have right now. Max Thunderman. He has the funniest lines. He's such a charisma. Jack Griffo is amazing. I just found out that Jack Griffo was in Kicking It. I just found that out. I was watching Mr. Nostalgia's video, and I just found out that Jack Griffo was on Kicking It for 1 episode, where he and Rush and Fegan had a dance team which faced it off against the Wasabi Warriors. And he was also on Loud House. He also played himself in Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn in the Quads Go to Hollywood special, where they fawn over his character. They fawn over himself as his character, which was interesting. And he was in the Loud House. Yeah, Jack Griffo has really gone a long way since he stopped playing Max Thunderman, and we'll probably see more of him after he's done playing Max Thunderman in Thunderman's Return, and we'll probably see more of Max in the Thunderman's Return sequel, because the Thunderman's Return's ending set up a cliffhanger for a sequel. So obviously, we're going to get a sequel because the movie is #1 on Paramount Plus right now. So, and they keep reminding me to watch it, which I'm not going to watch it yet, because I want to watch all of this show before I watch that show. Before we do the review for that show. For that movie, I must have show. But yeah. Now let's get to Hank Thunderman. Hank was kind of a jerk this season. He was kind of likable at the start, but then they kind of made him an egotist in episodes like episode 10. Which was weird. Like, he was an egotist. He went against his wife. And then they kind of made him likable again. It was weird. Then in episode 15, they made him a sexual predator. They made him a pervert. Hank, I know it was so he could watch Billy and watch him grow up. It was all, you probably watched my review for that episode. But it was weird. It was weird that they just made him weird. It was weird. Let's talk about Barb. Barb, she doesn't have anything going for her. I like her. She's fine. She's the mom. She and Phoebe have more interactions in season 1 and 2 than they do in season 3. Because season 3, Barb kind of became the B-plot person. Literally, she does have A-plotters, but mostly in the regular episodes, they kick Barb to the B-plot with the rest of her kids. Boom. And her husband. Boom. Because in the first 2 seasons, she and Phoebe had some good interaction, which we'll get to in season 2. But in season 3, yep, Barb's the B-plotter. She's there to hang out with the rest of her kids. Boom. She's in B-plot land now. And that's where she'll forever stay on this show in season 3 to 4. Because it's basically Barb's whole thing. I think Nora was a funny character. As and Ricky did a really good job with her performance. And that's it. I did like, it was weird that Nora went from bow to flower headband to bow to flower headband. Then in one episode she wear a bow headband. But now it seems like they're second to her love for bows thing. Because I don't know why the writers did that. That was a weird switch up. But it seems like now they're sticking to Nora's love for bows because now in I guess every episode Nora now wears bows from now on. But I guess now in Thunderman's Return she stopped because she's a teenager and she's not into that thing anymore. Which makes a lot of sense because when you're a teenager, you're not into the things you liked as a kid. So Nora's not into bows anymore. Which makes sense for her character. But it's weird. And Billy. Billy has to be... I like Billy. He's fine. But the whole joke with him kind of got stale. I don't know why the writers kept trying to tell us, oh, guy, Billy's not smart. Remember that? That was their whole joke with him, and I got bored by it. If you've seen my reviews, I got bored by it. It was bad, it was annoying, and I do not get why they kept trying to tell us this, because... So yeah, hopefully in season 2, with this type of show, we can see more in it. Yeah. In season 2, we get introduced to Max's band, and Max's band, and the Thunderman, and by the end of the season, we get a new addition to the Thunderman family. It's an interesting thing that we're going to explore as we go through these 24 to 25 episode season this time. Which is interesting that, yeah, technically since season 2 finale is a 2-parter, it's technically a 25-minute episode. 25 episode season. But yeah, anyway, that's it for me, and I'll see you next time when we look through every episode of Thunderman season 2. See you next time.